Awesome. So our next activity, we've been sitting a long time, everyone. So we are going to welcome Aileen Razey to give us some movement for about 20 minutes. Aileen is currently the clarinet professor at Kutztown University, and she is actually starting at St. Olaf College in the fall. And she's a wonderful human and also is on the ICA Health and Wellness Committee. And we're so happy to have you here. So take it away, Aileen.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Debbie and Michelle and the Enthusiast Committee for organizing such a great event. Um, and congratulations to all of you who just played too. This is the perfect opportunity at this point during a conference to move a little bit, to stretch a little bit. And so we're going to start with some of the what I consider the most fun exercises that I'll show you. And the first one, you can do this sitting down if you'd like, or you can stand up. But many of us have either been hunched over a computer or we've been hunched over a little bit with our playing. So we're just going to open up our body. And I call this one the bear pose. So you can do this again sitting or standing. But if you can go ahead and stretch out your arms really, really tall and really, really wide, and make yourself as big as you can. Maybe if you're standing, your feet are spread wide. And we just want to counterbalance any of this scrunched up kind of playing. So go ahead, 10 more seconds here. Really stretch it out. And then let it go for a second. And then we'll do it one more time so you can wiggle out your body a little bit. Dance around if you want to. And then we'll do one more. So as wide as you can make those arms. Excellent. If you're standing, if you can really feel your weight down into the ground, like you're a tree and you're springing up this way and you're springing your roots down into the ground. Whew, okay, great, excellent. You can stay standing if you want, or we can sit. And we're just gonna add a little bit of motion into our shoulders. So if you go ahead, take your hands and set them on your shoulders. We're just gonna make big circles with our elbows. So we're gonna go forward and around and then down and back up and forward. We'll do about 10 in each direction with this. Woo! And you can make this as slow and juicy as you want to. If there's a place as you're making these circles that's a little bit stiff, maybe you were just playing and there's a little bit of tension in your shoulders, or if you were sitting and you need to stretch them out, you can really hold it for a second if there's a place that you just need to stretch into a little bit. And then we'll go the opposite way. So now we're going to bring our elbows forward, up and around, and all the way back. And if your circles don't look like mine, that's okay. Maybe they're a little bit smaller, and that's all right too. But we'll bring them forward and a really great stretch backwards, and about 2 more of these. Woo! This feels really good for me on a Saturday. Super, and we'll stop there for a second. So again, you can stay standing if you want to for the rest of this, or you can sit, whatever you're most comfortable with. And a couple of reasons why we need to stretch and move. Obviously, we're humans and our bodies kind of crave this movement and this stretch. But as musicians, we're athletes. We're right up there with them. We're just using different muscles than what a soccer player might use, or what a runner or a power walker might use. So just as an athlete warms up, we as musicians can warm up and stretch as well. Our muscles need to be warm and limber. So if you're feeling a little bit cold as you're doing these stretches, I encourage you, you can like rub your hands together, warm them up if you need to, grab an extra sweater just so we can start to warm up some of these muscles that we're using. As we're stretching, we're starting to add we're increasing the range of motion of our muscles and warming those up. Sometimes when we're playing, we can be really concentrated on getting the right notes or getting the right style. And we might not notice, but we can tend to tighten up our muscles or scrunch up our muscles a little bit. And when we start to scrunch things up, this is where pain, we can start to feel some discomfort or pain. But if this happens for a really long time, this is where injury could happen too. So by stretching before we start practicing and during our practicing and after our practicing and performances, we can try and prevent some of that injury from happening too. So we're actually going to start this next section with some mindfulness activity. So you can sit or stand wherever you are and just feel really comfy. And if you want to close your eyes for this, you're more than welcome to. Or you can just find a point on the ground a little bit lower in front of you. And we're just going to bring our awareness to our breath. However you're breathing, you don't have to change anything for this exercise. You're just being aware of what you're doing. And just bring your awareness to how your breath feels. Are you allowing the breath to easily go in and out of your body? Is it stopping somewhere along the way? When you're thinking about these things, we don't have to pass any judgment on ourselves. We're just aware of what's going on in our body. Are you breathing through your nose? Are you breathing through your mouth? Is there any sound associated with this? What is the temperature of your air? Is it a little bit warmer? Is it a little bit cooler and faster? Again, you don't have to change anything, just be aware of how it feels. And as you're breathing, are there different parts of your body that are moving? This one always makes me laugh a little because as clarinetists, I think we all try and breathe from a little bit lower in our body or a little bit deeper. So we might start to notice that our stomach is moving a little bit, or maybe you can even feel your hips going into the chair a little bit more as you're breathing. But just be aware of that movement. You don't have to change anything right now. Now we'll just bring the attention to maybe slowing that breath down a little bit. So for me, I'm going to think of in for 4, out for 4. And for me, it's about this pace. So you can follow it if you want to. Maybe yours is a little slower, a little faster. So I'm going to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do a couple rounds of that, but follow your own pace. So we need this oxygen in our body, just like just like athletes. We need to give our body, our physical body, the rest that it needs in between. And our muscles have to recuperate. If we have a really long and demanding practice session or performance, we need to give our muscles some time to recuperate, and they need the oxygen in order to do this. So not only does it feel good to just stop and breathe for our mental sake, but also for our physical sake as well too. And go ahead, you can gently open your eyes. Maybe you feel a little bit more grounded in your sitting or your standing. And we're gonna do a little bit of stretching with our fingers and our wrists and our hands. So a disclaimer as we're going, again, your movements might not look exactly like mine, and that's okay. If you can't go as deep into a stretch, that's fine. If you feel any pain, go ahead and stop and just shake things out. You might feel a good stretch along the way. So we'll think about this idea of pain versus some stretch where our muscles might need it the most. So before we get started, this is my favorite yoga breath ever. So we won't take a screenshot of this unless you really want to, but we're gonna do a breath of fire. So we're gonna take a really deep breath in, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. As we take a breath out, we're gonna make our mouth as big as we can. And let the air out like this. I love it. I can see the faces already. Let's go ahead and do 2 or 3 of these. So big breath in. Yeah, great. 1. Excellent. This is also kind of fun to stretch out those jaw muscles too. So if our face has been in that embouchure for a really long time, we might start to get some tension in our jaw or in our neck muscles. So this is a fun way, I think, to start to stretch that out a little bit. Excellent. So go ahead and just be aware of this space between your ears and your shoulders. And as we go through these stretches, we just want to keep as much space right here as possible. So we're going to start we're going to starfish our hand. So our fingers are really, really wide. We're going to keep it at our shoulders, and then we're going to push it forward. I tell my students, like, you are trying to send your webs into the Spideyverse right here. Great. And the more stretch, and if you want a little bit more of a stretch, really think about spreading those fingers wide and keeping that palm pretty flat right here. And as we're doing this, just go ahead and bring your awareness back to your breath. Maybe give yourself a couple deep breaths. Excellent. We'll hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll shake it out. So I'll give you a whole bunch of exercises right now. Typically, I like to hold all of these static stretches. We'll do this one more time. So we have our spiderweb hands, and we're gonna push it out, and then as wide as you can make those fingers. So I like to hold these for about 30 seconds and do, for me, like 3 or 4 reps feels pretty good, but we'll do 2 reps for now. And if you need a reminder, you can roll your shoulders so they fall down the back of your spine. And we have lots of space here between our shoulders and our ears. Excellent, and we'll hold it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent, and we'll shake it out. Now we're just gonna let our hands blink. We'll do this for about 30 seconds. So as we're playing clarinet, as we're typing on our screens, as we're baking a cake, often our hand position is here and we can get that kind of cramped. So exercises like this, where we start to increase the range of motion, will help us just counteract that crunched up kind of feeling. We'll do a couple more and shake it out. And we'll do one more round. This time, don't worry so much about the speed, but maybe you really think about stretching it and then just relaxing it a little bit, and stretching it and relaxing it a little bit. So go ahead at whatever pace feels good for you this time around. Excellent. And maybe your range of motion is about here, and that's okay. Maybe you can really stretch out those fingers, and that's fine too, whatever you're comfy with right now. Excellent, and then we'll shake it out. Great. So now we're gonna come back. We'll cast our spider webs out in front of us. And this time we're just gonna flip our palms up, like you're telling the traffic to stop. And as a reminder, we'll roll those shoulders back. And if this is too much of a stretch, you can just let your fingers go like this. Maybe that's enough. If you need more of a stretch, if you can think about, you're pressing your palms against a brick building. So we're trying to push that building away from us. If that's too much, you can relax your fingers. If you want more, go ahead and really stretch those fingers out. And we'll bring our awareness just back to our breath. Yeah, I agree. This feels really great in the midst of a conference or at the end of the semester for some of you, or maybe you just woke up from a nap right before you did this and you need to stretch your body out. Great, and we'll go ahead and relax that one. So again, I would probably repeat that a couple times, but I just want to give you some options here. So this time, we're going to cast out our hands. We're going to do our stop signs. And now we're going to just easily and gently turn our hands around. So maybe some of you can go right here and you feel a pretty good stretch. If you want more of a stretch, you can think about your fingers going down to the ground. But go ahead and find that place that's comfy for you. And as a reminder, we'll just let our shoulders drip down our back. Yes, please do remember to breathe. This can be pretty intense on our body. You might feel a lot of stretches right now. For me, I feel a lot of stretch right here. And so I like to imagine that I'm kind of breathing into that spot. If you need a great reminder to breathe, you can do that breath of fire. And let your mouth go too. Great. Super. And we'll relax this one for a second. Go ahead and really lightly, we'll just ball our fists up and we're just gonna make some circles with our wrists. We don't have to go super fast on this one. For me, I like to go really slow and kind of make those circles pretty big with my knuckles. You can do some audible breaths too, and we'll switch directions. Super, and breathe into it. If there's a spot that you really need to stretch, you can pause it there for a second. Excellent, and we'll stretch that out. This one's one of my favorites. So we're gonna put our elbows together in front of us. So if you can go like this, so elbows and palms are together. And then we're gonna lift up a little bit. And you might feel a stretch right here in the back of your shoulders. And then we're gonna come down and we're gonna push our palms together and let our elbows go out. And we'll go through that motion a few times. So we have up and we'll push the elbows together. Maybe they don't come together all the way and that's okay. If you need some more stretch, you can lift those elbows up a little bit without letting the shoulders come up too. So we wanna keep those nice and relaxed. And then push the palms together and let the elbows split. If you need that reminder, go ahead and circle those shoulders behind you. Excellent, and we'll do one more of those, and I'm gonna take a big breath in as I press my elbows together. And then big breath out as I push my palms together. Excellent, great. And then we'll work a little on our neck. So a simple exercise, we can just let our neck go to the side. Maybe this is enough stretch for you. If you want to feel a little bit more stretch, I'm going to take the opposite arm and I'm going to push it out to the side like I'm pressing against a wall over here. And that for me is just going to add a little bit of stretch right here. And don't forget to breathe into it. Maybe with each breath, you might feel your head just drop a little bit more, relax a little bit more. Great, and go ahead, relax that. We'll just let our head fall to the other end. And if you need that extra stretch, we'll take the opposite arm and press it diagonal. And again, you might feel that stretch go through your shoulder, through your forearm to your wrist. And you can mess around a little bit too with how much you're flattening that palm. So for me, when I have a straight elbow and I'm flattening the palm, I get a little bit more of a stretch. But if that's too intense, you can just let that hand relax there too. And 2 big breaths into this. Excellent, and shake that out. And the last thing that we'll end with is you can either close your eyes if you want to or just look down in front of you. And we're gonna do a quick scan from our head to our toes and just kind of let gravity sink you into your chair if you're sitting down or sink you into your feet if you're standing up. So I'm gonna think about going from the top of my head, from my scalp, and letting my ears fall with gravity, kind of a silly thing to say or think about. I'm gonna let my jaw fall with gravity, so if you want that to fall open, you can. My shoulders are falling down my back. If I'm sitting, all of the weight is going down into my hips. If I'm standing, I can feel all that weight go down into my heels and the balls of my foot. And for fun, 2 more breaths of fire, because I know you love them so much. Here we go, big, big breath in. And let it out. And last one, big breath in. And I hope that that felt good for you at this point in the conference. And as you keep going, just remind yourself it's fine to sit there and take a little rest and take a little stretch. Thank you so much to Debbie and Michelle for having me on.
Thank you, Aileen. And I'll plan to do these stretches with you at intermission in 2 weeks, right?
Perfect. Yay. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much for being here. That was just what we needed. And now I think we are off to our next breakout rooms.